Harimau Selatan menentang The City Boys. Perlawanan epik penuh mendebarkan. JDT menentang KL City 22 Julai. Saksikan segalanya dengan PAS Liga Malaysia secara langsung di Astro Arena Bola dan Astro Go. Mari sokonglah pasukan anda dalam perlawanan akhir Piala FA 22 Julai ini. Ia pastinya epik. Jumpa di sana.
Good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Soraya Mia. Malaysia ranks first place in Southeast Asia in the Energy Transition Index by the World Economic Forum. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli says the achievement shows that Malaysia is on the right track to manage a fast, safe and affordable energy transition. The index takes into account the system performance and the country's readiness to switch to more environmentally friendly energy sources. According to Rafizi, Malaysia has various strategic advantages, such as a strategic location, diverse renewable energy sources, and a high level of skills to become a regional leader in the field of energy transition. He said the country is also expected to attract global investments in the clean technology sector, which has reached 5 trillion ringgit in 2022. The Economy Ministry will launch Phase 1 of the National Energy Transition Roadmap on July 27th, with 10 flagship pilot projects that are expected to generate investments amounting to 25 billion ringgit. The roadmap outlines the government's move to achieve its renewable energy capacity target of 70% by 2050. The country will establish an exchange mechanism to facilitate export of renewable energy to neighboring countries. Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Minister Nik Ahmed says the plan is still in an early stage, but details of the initiative will be presented to the government this year.
Nik Nazmi said Malaysia first has to secure enough renewable energy supply for the country, then to ensure the best value for sales abroad and allow that value to be reinvested to boost the sector. Malaysia has lifted its ban on trading renewable energy last May in order to accelerate the country's move towards sustainable and more environmentally friendly power. He said that aside from expanding renewable energy, Malaysia should also consider mini-scale hydropower as a viable option, adding that the Hydrogen Economy and Technology Roadmap, overseen by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, is nearing completion. Discussing the possible implementation of a carbon tax, he clarified that this would require comprehensive tax reforms to be in place first, adding that it may be necessary upon reaching the net zero carbon emission target by 2050.
The government has set a 10-year target to achieve 100% self-sufficiency ratio, or SSR, for several basic food items, including rice, fish, chicken, and vegetables. Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Sabu says this will help strengthen food security. Muhammad said his ministry is looking to increase the production of rice, as it is a staple food item that had yet to achieve 100% SSR. He, however, assured that the public will continue to enjoy local rice at normal prices, even if there is a shortage of supply due to the unpredictable weather. Malaysia has achieved 100% SSR for 26 selected food items, mainly fruits and vegetables. Chicken and duck eggs are the only items under the important protein category in which the SSR exceeds 100%. Earlier this year, it was reported that several fruits and vegetables fell short of the 100% SSR target in 2021, including chilies, ginger, cabbages, mangoes and coconuts. In other news, Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadil announced that Starlink has now received a network facility and service provider license. This will allow Starlink to provide internet access to Malaysians, especially for those living in the rural areas.
In a series of tweets, Fahmi explained that while 97% of populated areas already have internet access, geographical challenges in rural areas and deserted islands hamper efforts to connect the remaining 3% to the internet. He hopes for Starlink to bridge the gap, though the satellite broadband service operated by SpaceX will prioritize schools and tertiary institutions first when they set up shop in Malaysia. The announcement came just days after Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim announced that the government will be buying 40 units of Starlink internet devices for use in universities, colleges and schools across the country. This follows the meeting Anwar had with Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk last Friday.
In politics, the Malaysian United Democratic Alliance Party Muda has unveiled their manifesto ahead of the upcoming state polls. It calls for the trimming of executive powers from the hands of a Menteri Besar and executive councillors, with a goal to enhance public participation in policy making and decentralize power.
Muda said it wants a system whereby major policy decisions would be put to a vote. They intend to implement a referendum process to be debated as a motion in constituencies, while also calling for a return of local government elections. In empowering the youth, Muda calls for the formation of a special youth committee in every constituency. They will also provide 10,000 ringgit seed capital for 600 young entrepreneurs and upskilling assistance for youths working in informal industries such as the gig economy, content creation and esports. Muda also wants to ensure that environmental protection is embedded in every state development project, calling for a ban in uncontrolled logging and an increase in water catchment areas, especially in high-risk flooding areas.
We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere.
What type of complaints can be lodged against PDRM under the IPCC framework?
So we should have judicial oversight, hearings in cameras and so on and so forth.
And I'm just wondering what support systems are there to assist former para-athletes?
Some choose their own way to further their life.
How have we fared in achieving our preschool education goals?
Actually, Malaysia has been doing a very good job on this.
In the cyberspace, the rise of cyber mercenaries represents an escalating threat. These collectives of hackers are often backed by state actors who hire them for political or strategic reasons, while non-state actors hire them to commit financially motivated crimes. Cynthia Ng reveals where regular internet users are most vulnerable to these attacks.
Phishing and malware attacks are some of the key threats in the cyberspace facing users, especially in Asia Pacific. And today, right here at Google, we'll find out what's being done about it.
According to Google's threat analysis group, these hacking attacks often involve spammed emails containing a malicious link that, when clicked, opens a fake page designed to steal users' data or to deliver malware to devices.
We consider these cyber mercenaries a serious threat, and we wrote a kind of paper called On Hacking for Hire. And so this is where we actually see these operations, and there's been some good things written about them, where they take money and then they try and break into Gmail accounts or do hacking operations. And we consider them as much a threat as the direct government actors. So one of the things that we've done is we've actually found exploits being used by these attackers and got them patched. We work on what techniques they have. We block their messages at the spam filters. We stop them breaking into accounts when we see the attempts. And we make a lot of fun of fixes to make these attacks infeasible and to block them. We have worked with various law enforcement agencies around the world, and when we see stuff which is appropriate to report on a law enforcement matter, we report those, because I do think you need the combination of technical ability of being blocked on our side, but also there's a role for like government and law enforcement to take on criminal action worldwide.
The Hack for Hire groups have targeted thousands of individuals and organizations around the world. Victims have included human rights activists, journalists, politicians, and even doctors and engineers.
So we do see that Asia Pacific generally is an area where there is a high amount of targeting. It is a very high area of focus because it is of such geopolitical importance at present. And so we've published on a number of posts around attacks we've seen from North Korea, from China. We've talked about hack for hire in India. So there is a lot of interest and a lot of espionage. What I would say at present is that what we generally see in Asia Pacific at present is espionage. We haven't seen, one of the differences between, say, Russia has done these destructive attacks against Ukraine.
People
they did them before.
But it's not just spying.
Yeah. We haven't seen that attacks coming, in this region yet. But it is something that we would be absolutely expecting if tensions increased, and I believe those capabilities exist, but they've not yet been observed in the wild.
Cynthia Ng reports from the Foreign Press Center International Reporting Tour, Mountain View, California.
Meanwhile, Thailand's parliament will hold another vote for a prime minister next week, which will not include leader of the election-winning Move Forward Party, Pita Limcharoenrat. According to House Speaker Wan Muhammad Noor, the next bicameral vote will be held on Thursday, July 27th. According to Deputy Speaker Pishet Chawmuangpan, a candidate can only be nominated once in each parliamentary session. Yesterday, Parliament voted to block Pita's second bid for premiership, while the Constitutional Court suspended him as an MP as it investigates a case against him over allegations related to his shares in a media company. Next week, it is expected that real estate tycoon and political newcomer Setha Thavisin from runner-up Pheu Thai Party will be nominated for Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Parliament's move to deny Pita's renomination on Wednesday triggered angry street protests. Some 1,000 people filled Bangkok's Democracy Monument on Wednesday night after the pro-reform leader's suspension and denied premier nomination. In a May 14 election, over 14 million turned to Pita and his Move Forward Party, trouncing its military-backed rivals. 3 people, including an armed attacker, died in a shooting in Auckland, New Zealand, hours before the city opened the FIFA Women's World Cup. 6 others, including police officers, were injured. However, Prime Minister Chris Hipkins says the tournament goes ahead as planned.
It is safe to go to the FIFA opening event. We're very proud to be hosting the event in New Zealand. Obviously, we would prefer it not to have started in this way. It will be acknowledged what happened today at the opening ceremony.
Hipkins said the attack was not seen as an act of terrorism, with no identified political or ideological motivation, therefore no national security risk. Auckland welcomed thousands into the city for the 9th Women's World Cup, co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. Meanwhile, Malaysia's foreign ministry said on Thursday that no Malaysians were involved in the random shooting on Key Street. Several streets in Auckland were cordoned off, while some public transport into the city cancelled or detoured. Police identified the 24-year-old shooter to be a worker at the construction site where the attack happened. He was armed with an unlicensed pump-action shotgun and moved through a building site randomly shooting. According to police, he had a history of family violence and mental health issues and was subject to a home detention order but had an exemption to work at the site. Hundreds of protesters stormed the Swedish embassy in central Baghdad, scaling its walls and setting it on fire in protest against the expected burning of a Holy Quran in Sweden. According to the Swedish Foreign Ministry, all Baghdad embassy staff are currently safe. Meanwhile, the Iraqi government also issued a warning that they are willing to sever diplomatic ties with Sweden if a Quran is burned again.
Videos by Reuters showed dozens of men climbing over the fence at the complex, trying to break down a front door. Another showed what appeared to be a small fire being set. The Swedish Foreign Ministry condemned the attack, calling for Iraqi authorities to protect diplomatic missions. The demonstrations was called by supporters of Shia cleric Mustaqta al-Sadr to protest the second planned burning of a Quran at the Iraqi embassy in Stockholm on Thursday. This comes after Swedish police reportedly granted approval and released a permit for the protests, while one of the individuals expected to participate was reported to be a man who set a Quran on fire outside a Stockholm mosque in June.
That's all we have for you for the show tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Soraya Mia, and we'll see you again.
Trauma? Wrong direction? Mesti ada sebab jadi macam tu. Apa yang aku kena buat untuk pulihkan Akid?
Cinta Wrong Direction. Stream on demand bila-bila masa di mana sahaja dengan Astro Baharu.